Hi everyone, this is Bob with CellTechProductions.com. I've been getting some great feedback lately whenever I cover just a little bit of music theory. You're telling me you want more. So I'm starting a new series on music theory. It's not about playing an instrument, so it doesn't matter if you're a guitar player or you play piano or you play no instrument at all. I'm finding many composers don't play instruments at all. So in this series, we'll focus on using your DAW as your instrument. As with any learning series, you have to start with the fundamentals. So hang in there with me as I have some great plans for this series. Let's get started with the basics of note names. The reason we are going to use a piano in this series is because it's the easiest to visualize and your DAW uses it in a piano roll view. When you are looking at a full-size piano, you are looking at 88 keys. But there are really only 12 tones, 7 white keys and 5 black keys. These 12 tones just repeat themselves in different registers up and down the piano. And we'll cover that later. A musical scale has note names that go from A to G, and then it starts over. So when it gets to G, there's no H or I. So it just starts over with A again. How you'll orient yourself to these notes on the piano is with the pattern of the black keys. Notice that they are grouped in sets of 2 and 3. To find the A note, look at the group of 3 black notes. Now, let's just go right in the middle of this set here, and just to the right, go to this white key, and that's the A note. That's called middle A. Now, if I play all of the white notes from A to an A an octave higher, now where would that be? Go to this group of 3 black notes, look in the middle, go to the right. This is the A an octave higher. So if I play all of the white notes from A to A, I just played a musical scale called A minor. Now don't worry about why it's called minor. We'll get into that later. So what we want to learn here is our first interval called the octave. This is A, and this is A, an octave higher. This is A, and this is A, an octave lower. The octaves sound very similar, but they are actually different frequencies, either higher or lower. The math on the fundamental tone is doubled going up an octave, and it's cut in half going down an octave. For example, A440, that fundamental frequency is 440 hertz. If I go up an octave higher, that's A at 880 hertz. So I've doubled the frequency. If I go A an octave lower, A440, an octave lower is A220. The numbers are not important right now, but in future videos, we may be manipulating sound with an EQ or an equalizer that we will focus on these frequencies. A musical scale starts on the root note. That's my starting point, and it ends on an octave. Let's play a scale that everyone is familiar with, the major scale. We are going to use C major, as that also uses all of the white keys on the piano keyboard. Find the 2 black notes. Look at the very first of these 2 black notes, and C is just to the left of that first black note. Let's go up an octave and find these 2 black notes, and the first one, and just to the left of it, and that's a C an octave higher. Now all we have to do is spell C, D, E, F, G. Now we have to remember to start over with A here. A, B, C. the C major scale. Sounds familiar, right? So what are the black keys? Before we can move on with scales, we need to discuss whole steps and half steps and the black keys. Step movements. Very simply, a half step is when you move up or down to the next adjacent note. For example, if I'm on this C here, and if I move up a half step, I play this black key. If I'm on C here and I move down a half step, I'm playing this white key. If we played all 12 tones between the octave moving up by half steps, we would be playing the chromatic scale. Those are all half steps. Now, a whole step is when you move up or down, but you are skipping a note. If I start on C and I go up a whole step, notice I skipped this black note, so that's a whole step. If I'm at C and I go down a whole step, I'm playing this black note. Notice I skipped this note. So I want you to make a mental note looking at this keyboard between C and C, an octave higher, that on those white keys, there are only 2 half steps. Notice that this is a whole step, this is a whole step, but between E and F is a half step. Whole step, whole step, whole step. And notice between this B and the C is another half step. So I just want you to note that between E and F is a half step and B and C is a half step. This will come in handy later. Now, if I land on a black key, those are called accidentals. They're either sharps or flats. For example, if I move up a half step from C, this would be C sharp. If I move down from D a half step, this would be D flat. Well, notice that C sharp and D flat are exactly the same note, the same pitch, but it has 2 different names. That's called enharmonic. We'll visit that again later when spelling scales. So there you go, guys, an introduction to note names. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and head over to celltechproductions.com and get on the email list for some more great content. And I'll see you next time.